and I would feel a lot more at ease. The humor would be easier, because Christians really don't know how to laugh. They don't get it, man.
My parents were pretty, for the most part, flexible. They always kind of had the little underlying sentiment that it's better to marry somebody Jewish. They never really said why. I think a lot of that we have to figure out on our own along the way.
When I was a kid, they used to talk about gastronomic Jews who love Jewish food and cardiac Jews who were Jewish in their heart. And in that sense, I suppose my grandfather and my mother were value-based Jews. Their values were Jewish, but not their practice.
Being Jewish is not just saying I identify with being a Jew because I feel that way, or when I eat, corned beef sandwiches, I feel really Jewish or whatever, lox and bagels.
Pita, we have tahina over here.
I mean, some people feel that way. I mean, that's the way they express their Judaism. It's important to feel Jewish. It's important to have a Jewish identity. It's important to feel good about being Jewish. But it's also important to act as a Jew and not just have good intentions. We're not here this is not a feel-good religion. This is a do-good religion.
There are certain traditions and things that you should do regarding keeping kosher and keeping the Sabbath, not working on Shabbat. I really generally don't follow those things, so that makes me, that's conflicting for me to say I'm Jewish, but then I don't do those things. Am I still Jewish?
For myself, I just feel that I'm an American Jewish conservative person. I don't really feel that I have to be any certain way other than that. You're Jewish regardless of what your level of observance is. For a son of a rabbi, there's a much different requirements for me, the son of a florist.
My job is to try to bring them closer to observance, not because that's my way of understanding Judaism. It's because that is what I believe God is asking of me.
My art is absolutely the way that I keep my faith, and I would say that it is the only way that I keep my faith. Being Jewish to me is cultural, but the meaning of it internally, on a spiritual level, is still there. When one studies the Talmud, one actually is absorbing a way of looking at things. And that process is one that has greatly influenced not only the way I live, but also my art. Has resulted in a way of writing poetry, a way of writing and performing songs.
If Judaism has life and meaning, then it will be chosen by people, and if it doesn't, it won't and it shouldn't be.
We had 3 synagogues, and they were all filled.
There was the Abba Shalom, which was the old brick shul. There was the white shul. There was the Holman shul. And then there was actually a Lubavitch operation. And actually they were looking at Sheboygan as being the center of Lubavitch because we had such a vibrant Jewish community at that time. I think a lot of Jewish people are coming here.
And then as time went along, as people are beginning to leave, one closed up, and the second one closed up, and we were with just one synagogue.
There aren't any stores here that are Jewish. There used to be Winkleman's department store, and there was Heinemann's department store.
You had Meerman's furniture store. You had the Deutsch family Northern Mattress.
This store over here used to be Goldstones. They were good friends of mine. They're buried right near my mother and dad. And down on the end of this block was Isaacson's. That was the largest women's ready-to-wear in the store. And across from him was Phil Kramer's men's store. And up the street was Goldberg's. There were 4 Jewish businesses on this street at one time, thriving. Today there aren't any. That's the interesting thing about it.
Well, what changes? What happens to all those stores and those businesses is people prospered. They were able to send their kids to UW in Madison, and the kids did great, went into professions, and they didn't come back to a small town.
The way it's going now, there won't be a Jewish community here. It won't take 10 or 20 years, because everyone here is old. Children are gone.
We're a recovering aged congregation is probably a good way to put it. We are at a point where, my wife and I are essentially the youngest people here, and we're in our 40s, early 40s.
The era of the small town Jew is pretty much gone.
We could see it coming maybe 25 years ago, but I never dreamt I'd live to see it, but that's the way it is.
It was a beautiful period. It was great for the kids to grow up there. There are none there anymore because there are very few Jews, and that Jew needs another Jew to be with, to marry, to assimilate with, to enjoy, to share, to love. A Jew can be any place, but when he's with other Jews, he's better off and he's more comfortable, and it's a better life for him.
Why close the business? Couple reasons. We went to Florida last year just as on a trip, and we visited several places. And a particular one was the Villages. We decided to go down there this year, rent a place for a month, and see if we like the lifestyle. And we did. It really clicked with us because there was a lot of Jewish activity in the area around Orlando, and we liked it very much.
I hope they're going to be happy. And I don't know where I'm going to be, probably crawling with some turtle someplace.
It was hard on Mom. The store was her life. It was a place for her when she came downtown to go. It was familiarity.
I never wanted it to happen. My heart was ready to break. I know what it meant to people. Endless people who came and remembered this first outing, this first outfit, this first reason for being in the store, and saving those pieces of clothing and coming back because they had purchased something that was so wonderful.
I went to a funeral just last week, and sitting in that church in the funeral ceremony, and looking around and seeing that probably 75% of the people in church were wearing an outfit that came out of Felix's. And then the people coming up to me after, oh, we miss your store so much. Oh, it brings tears to my eyes, it really does. It was very difficult, it was very hard. Do I miss the merchandise? Do I miss the store? Yeah. Some. What I really miss? The people. This community.
When I became chairman about a year ago, one of my first tasks was to arrange for the sale of our building at 3131 North Main Street. That set off a series of events culminating in this occasion today.
We're going to start the procession, and I'm going to lead, but I would like to have someone who is interested in carrying the Torah. Please, someone else come and take the Torah from me, and then for another block or so, and then pass it on to someone else. So everyone who would like to carry the Torah has a chance to do so.
The new location is fantastic. There were people that were just, really upset about moving. They couldn't understand why we would do that. There's a lot of people, even right to this day, that feel that we had to move out of our own building and we're going out of business, which is defunct. And that's obviously not true. We did the move precisely to save the congregation, and I think people understand that.
So she was very upset that that they were leaving the building, but we knew we had to do it, right?
We moved here in 1970. Great, big, huge synagogue. Great for raising our kids in. And then we started to shrink, as many small town Jewish communities have. And we shrunk to the point where that particular building was becoming a burden to us. We found this, made the decision to move, and I'm very pleased.
It turned out to be beautiful. I never envisioned an old doctor's office to be a synagogue, but it's turned out to be have a really wonderful feeling.
Now that we've made this transition, now we can concentrate. We always were worried about, do we have enough money to pay our bills? And now I'm thinking of ways, it may be next year, but we'll actually have money that we can use for other purposes, like programming. It would be nice for us to actually, as a congregation, donate money to various charities and things like that, as opposed to just, begging for money all the time. And that is exciting. I mean, that's the way it should be.
There still is Jewish life in many, many small communities throughout the state, and I think Jewish life is thriving in many of them, even in congregations where there isn't a full-time rabbi.
Really, the last few years, it's just been me and Mark Brami. So we're the Kol Chazanim. We alternate leading services. I kind of feel like at least I'm continuing that legacy. I'm trying to keep it going, doing my best.
Whoever comes deserves to have a positive Jewish experience, and it's my responsibility to make it a positive Jewish experience. I've always had this sort of can-do attitude that our smallness doesn't mean we can't do things. People have said we program like we're a big congregation, because I've just wanted to put that energy and enthusiasm and ideas and bring everything possible to the congregation and not let our smallness keep us from doing those things.
Edges of each side, you'll see.
We're a little bit of a miracle. If you compare us to congregations of similar size, we have an unusually full, professional, full-time program. So we're I think, fairly at the high end of performance for our size. If we slip 20 families, it will change what we're able to do.
It's an endurance test. It's important to keep the tradition going. That's really all we have. Everything that we do is tradition. Judaism is about action and what we do in the services and how we eat. And so you try to keep the traditions alive, keep the ruach, the spirit going. And I think that's important. I like that for my kids, certainly. So the future of Sheboygan, I think, is positive. The future of being Jewish in Sheboygan is positive. As long as you have Jewish people like us living in small communities around the world, I think the Jewish people endure.
Recite the Shema together.
What would you like me to sing? Adon Olam Asher Malach
בטרם הכל יציר נברא, ועת נשא וחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, בידו אף כדרוכי, מעת אישן ביעירה, במרוכי גביעתי, אדוני לי,